Hi, about my favorite way to love yourself, when you might not expect, so that you can really stop with perfectionism and then you can relax into your day, into your life. And I wanted to talk about this because I've actually been seeing a lot out in the world from people and from high achieving women around perfectionism. And it's something that stalls and stops where we want things to be perfect. And then in that perfectionism, lots of things can happen where you start to be very hard on yourself. I don't know if you notice that, but when you start to get perfectionist, there's a lot of judgment that gets involved. Even if you're not judging yourself, it can start to get into a lot of worry and a lot of doubt about how. So when you get into those places of perfectionism, it's very, very difficult to be able to relax. It's difficult to be able to accept and see gratitude in your life and to look around the world and remember that there are many things in your life that are very glorious. And I know for so many of you, a gratitude practice is really important and essential. And but I'm not here to talk about that because really I also want to talk about the other way to remember and what is actually what I would consider the antidote to perfectionism, which is a practice of loving yourself. And how do you start to do that? And if this is a totally wild foreign concept to you, this is the perfect place for you to be because you care about getting to the next level. You really care about what it's going to take for you to start to accomplish the next level in your job or in your relationships and really start to actually see some new abilities and new levels of growth. And it really actually does come from loving yourself. And it's something that how to start to practice self-love. And this is really the level at which you will find a real shift in your life as you can actually start to learn to love yourself as you are. If you can really start to learn this perfect unconditional self-love is actually possible. So I'm going to tell you a way to do this that because it also will let me come out and share with you that I am secretly a huge fan of the K-pop band BTS. Yes, that's right. I love BTS. I'm just here to be like, no holds barred. I love BTS. I think they're really amazing. And one of the reasons I think they're amazing, besides the fact that they are totally adorable, is actually this. This is the reason I love them so much. And this is what started me being a BTS fan called Army, by the way. So they had a tour called Love Yourself. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. And really, when I started to investigate and learn more about it, it really was inspiring and very compelling. They were really struggling to love themselves. If you don't know BTS, they are the biggest band on the planet. They are huge. They sell 100,000 person arenas. They are so big. There is no end of people who want to love BTS. And yet they were struggling with loving themselves. And one of the things they started to realize, and I don't love myself. And they started to really look into that and start to investigate and understand for themselves how can they start to expand and understand how to love themselves in a bigger way. And I would say that what they were investigating is true of absolutely any of us. It doesn't matter how much you've accomplished in your life or the level of success that you've had for you to receive it, to understand it, to allow yourself to get to that next degree. And for them, loving themselves really became this theme. And so they actually ran this whole tour called Love Myself because it became something they really felt was important for themselves. And they knew if it was happening for them, it was happening for their fans. And I also had years and years and years practice for me of learning to love myself and really appreciate who I am and everything about me and showing up in the world that way. So I'm going to tell you my number one secret for really starting to learn and practice how to love myself. And this is going to maybe be surprising, but perhaps not. And it's actually the song by BTS. When I'm out walking my dog and I really need to feel connected and loved again. It's mostly in Korean, so just a little warning. It's in Korean. You're not going to understand most of it unless you speak Korean. But there is some English in there. But there's something really profound in the way the tone of the song, the languaging of it, deep and powerful in what they're saying. And I can feel that even when I don't understand the words of what they're saying, I can feel that in the resonance of the song. Music is very powerful for shifting you in general. And this song really makes a big difference. And so I'm sharing it with you. It could be that you go listen to BTS, but it's also this loving ourselves. It has to be a practice. And so go try something on that's actually going to allow you to be in that practice of loving yourself. Like, what is it going to take for you to start to love yourself more? Is it a song that's going to just be like, oh yes, like there's love out there? Is it looking around, and you could do it, see other people who love you, other beings, like my dog, like she has so much unconditional, perfect love for me. When I'm around her, I'm like, oh right, like this is how love feels. Like she doesn't care. She just loves me, just unconditionally, right? And so how do you, and then I have family members and friends and all these other people who also really love me as well. It's reflections back at us, at people who love you, or your pets who love you, or your kids who love you, and like whoever it is, and really start to see yourself the way that they see you. How can you step into that place? And then actually, that's how you're going to start to make progress. That's how you start to make progress and relax. It is, what's that next level that you really want to achieve? I don't know anybody who can get to the highest levels of success without starting to understand what it takes to love themselves. And this is something, and this is my last little recommendation. J Lo, Jennifer Lopez, was on Oprah's podcast talking about this work for herself and how to be so wildly successful and to really allow her new space. So go check that out as well. I'll put that link down in the comments for you to check that one out. But anyways, that's really a whole big picture for, like, if you want to be that person who is, and I know each of you is so ambitious and you want to achieve so much, loving yourself first. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Nicole Song, and you can check out my page. I have a free download for 5 simple steps to master your intuition. Check that out. Have a beautiful day.